Did you know that Jack Nicholson turned down the role of Hannibal Lecter because he was busy filming The Shining? Well, there's more where that came from. Here are some scary fun facts about Joker. Let's do this one for all my fellow fans of scary movies out there. Number 10, The Silence of the Lambs was not the first time that an actor turned down a role in the movie. You see, before casting Nicholson as Hannibal Lecter, the producers had approached Anthony Hopkins to play the part. He turned it down because he didn't want to play a killer again so soon after his portrayal of serial killer Richard Ramirez in the film Memories of Murder. By the way, Ramirez was also known as the Night Stalker. Hopkins would later win an Academy Award for his portrayal of Hannibal Lecter. Talk about a lucky break. Number 9. Another famous actor who turned down a role in The Silence of the Lambs was Dustin Hoffman. He was asked to play the role of Hannibal Lecter, but he turned it down because he didn't like the script. Hoffman felt that the character of Hannibal Lecter was too over the top and that the movie as a whole was too violent. Can you imagine Hoffman as Lecter? What do you think? Number 8. In the novel, Hannibal Lecter is described as being much more brutal and graphic in his depictions of violence. In fact, in the book, he actually eats some of his victims. However, due to budget constraints and time limitations, this aspect of the character had to be toned down for the film adaptation. Instead, the filmmakers chose to focus on Lecter's more psychological elements, such as his manipulative and deceptive nature. This decision paid off, as the film was both a critical and commercial success. It won 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director. Number 7. While researching for her role, actress Jodie Foster actually spent time at a psychiatric hospital to observe patients who were similar to the character she was playing. She also spoke with several convicted serial killers, including one named John Wayne Gacy, who was dubbed the Killer Clown because he entertained children at parties dressed as a clown. Gacy was convicted of murdering 33 young men and boys and was sentenced to death by electric chair. He was executed in 1994. Number 6. During the filming of The Silence of the Lambs, director Jonathan Demme kept a stuffed animal, a little monkey, on set at all times. He said that it was his good luck charm and that he always brought it with him when he directed a film. Demme also kept a stuffed monkey on the set of his 1991 film The Man Without a Face. He said that he liked the idea of a monkey holding up a mirror to the human condition. Number 5. The producers of The Silence of the Lambs were initially hesitant to cast Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter because they thought he was too old for the role. They wanted someone younger and more physically imposing. However, Hopkins' agent convinced them to at least audition him, and the producers were blown away by his performance. Number 4. The character of Hannibal Lecter has been played by several actors over the years. In addition to Anthony Hopkins and Jack Nicholson, other actors who have portrayed Lecter include Mads Mikkelsen, whom you might recognize as the villain from Casino Royale, the most recent James Bond film, and Brian Cox, who played Hannibal in the television series Manhunter. Who do you think did the best job? Number 3. In the novel, Clarice Starling, the character played by Jodie Foster, is much more experienced than she is in the film. In fact, she's already worked several high-profile cases and has a reputation as a top agent at the FBI Academy. However, in the film, she's a young, inexperienced trainee who's just trying to make a name for herself. Number 2. The character of Hannibal Lecter is based in part on a real-life serial killer named Francis Dolarhyde. Dolarhyde was convicted of killing 3 people in California in 1979. He was sentenced to death, but later had his sentence reduced to life in prison after it was determined that he was insane. No. 1. After the release of The Silence of the Lambs, author Thomas Harris received hundreds of letters from fans wanting to know what happened to Hannibal Lecter after the events of the novel. As a result, he wrote a sequel, which was published in 1999. The novel, which he titled Hannibal Lecter, picks up with Lecter living in exile in Italy. When a member of Clarice Starling's family is murdered, she is once again called in to help catch the killer. And who do you think is behind it all? That's right, Hannibal Lecter. Well, that's all the time we have for today. But don't worry, we'll be back with more scary fun facts about your favorite horror icons very soon. So stay tuned, and remember, don't become a victim yourself.